All right, so let's see if the audio is okay. Yeah, perfect. How's it going, everyone? I hope you all are doing great. I am Radu and I am back with another daily analysis. As always, I'm gonna start off with the Forex analysis. And to be more exact, I'm gonna start off with USD where we can see that we have a beautiful sniper reaction on our first entry. It smashed TP1, currently running close towards TP2. The reason I took this setup is because I saw this very aggressive push towards the downside that left imbalance behind. Before that push, I saw that liquidity was swept as well right here. And after the break, I was able to identify this unmitigated order block that was lining up perfectly with the area of interest as well as with this bearish trader order block. And lastly, the pullback was also a very nice and corrective one, and the trader graph was fully bearish. Okay, so literally every single confluence was in place. We took this setup. As we can see, it triggered the first entry and had a very beautiful sniper reaction on it. Smashed TP1 and currently running towards TP2, actually very close to it. Moving forward, we have GBP/JPY with another bearish opportunity. This one hasn't triggered yet. Right here we have a bearish shift in momentum, a liquidity sweep followed by an aggressive break towards the downside. We have this unmitigated order block lining up with the area of interest as well as with this bearish trader order block. The 4-hour is bearish on the trader graph, and the pullback has also been a very nice and corrective one. On AUD CAD, we have another beautiful sniper reaction. Okay, right here we can see that the reason we took this setup is very simple. I saw a continuation of this uptrend with this impulsive break of structure to the upside that took price higher and left imbalance behind. I was able to identify this fair value gap that was lining up with the discounted area of this bullish range as well as with this bullish trader order block. Daily and the 4-hour were both bullish on the trader graph as well, and the pullback has also been a pretty nice and corrective one, hence why we took this setup. Currently running in some nice profits, smash TP1, and all we got to do now is wait and see how it will unfold. CAD/JPY, right here we have a bearish opportunity looking pretty textbook. We have a aggressive break towards the downside, a fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. The 4-hour bearish on the trader graph, and so far a corrective pullback. So we definitely want to see a continuation of that. On Euro JBP, right here we have another bearish potential setup. We have a aggressive break towards the downside. Before the break, liquidity was swept as well right here. And after the break, I was able to identify this unmitigated order block that, as we can see, is lining up perfectly with this bearish trader order block, and they are both lining up with the premium area of this bearish range. Daily and 4-hour are both bearish on the trader graph, and so far the pullback looks very nice and corrective. So once again, we would love to see a continuation of this corrective pullback towards our fire zone. On GBP CAD, things look bullish. Okay, very clear to see. We have a aggressive break towards the upside, a fair value gap lining up with the point of interest. The trader graph is fully bullish, as we can all see, and the pullback so far looks pretty corrective. So once again, we want to see a continuation of that. Otherwise, if we get an aggressive pullback, the setup becomes invalid. On EuroCAD, things look pretty bullish as well. Very aggressive break towards the upside. Liquidity was swept beforehand as well, which is great. We have this fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest as well as with this bullish trader order block. Daily and the 4-hour are both bullish on the trader graph. And now all we need to wait for is to see whether we manage to get a corrective pullback or not. On AUD/JPY, things look bearish. We have an aggressive break towards the downside, very textbook. A unmitigated order block lining up perfectly with the area of interest. The 4-hour bearish on the trader graph, and now last thing that we need to wait for is, as always, a corrective pullback. On EUR/JPY, we have a bearish shift in momentum, liquidity sweep caused by this fake out towards the upside, followed by this impulsive break towards the downside. we have this unmitigated supply, this unmitigated order block, lining up with the premium area of this bearish range, as well as with this bearish trader order block. The 4-hour is bearish on the trader graph, and so far the pullback has been very nice and corrective, which is great. On Euro CHF, we have a bullish opportunity, pretty textbook one in my opinion. We have a aggressive break towards the upside, unmitigated order block lining up perfectly with the area of interest, as well as with this bullish trader order block. The 4-hour is bullish on the trader graph, and pullback has been very nice and corrective as well so far. So we definitely want to see a continuation of that. On GBP USD, we have a bullish potential setup, very aggressive break towards the upside, as we can see, a fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest, daily and 4-hour both bullish on the trader graph, and so far pullback looks corrective, okay, which is great because that's what we want. On USD JPY, things look bearish. We have a bearish shift in momentum here. We have a sweep of liquidity followed by this aggressive break towards the downside. Imbalance was left behind, a lot of it, as we can see. We have this unmitigated supply lining up perfectly with this bearish trader order block, as well as with the area of interest. The 4-hour is bearish on the trader graph, and so far the pullback looks corrective, which is great. Moving forward, we have Euro USD with a bullish opportunity. Right here we have a continuation of this upwards push with this impulsive break towards the upside that took price higher and left imbalance behind. We have this small fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest, and so far pullback looks very nice and corrective as well. So we definitely want to see a continuation of that. On GBP AUD, we have a very textbook bullish setup, very aggressive break towards the upside, a unmitigated order block that is lining up with the area of interest, the 4-hour bullish on the trader graph, and now the last thing that we need to wait for is a corrective pullback. On AUD USD, we have a bearish opportunity. Right here we have a pretty textbook break towards the downside, looking pretty clean and aggressive. We have this unmitigated order block that is lining up perfectly with the area of interest, as well as with this bearish trader order block. The 4-hour is bearish on the trader graph, and now we want to wait for the corrective pullback, for our final step basically. The pullback is our final step. And lastly, for our Forex analysis, we have Euro AUD with a textbook bullish opportunity, very aggressive break towards the upside. We broke multiple highs with this leg, which is a great added confluence. We have this tiny fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. The 4-hour is bullish on the trader graph as well. And now, once again, we need to wait for a corrective pullback. And yeah, on that note, this was pretty much it for today's Forex analysis. As always, if there's any other questions, make sure to reach out on Discord. Now I will go over today's metals analysis, starting off with gold, where I was able to identify a bullish opportunity. Right here we can see that the graph clearly tells us that that we have a uptrend. Okay, and here we have a continuation of this uptrend with this bullish break of structure. Very aggressive one because imbalance was left behind. I was able to identify this unmitigated order block that, as we can see, is lining up perfectly with the point of interest. The trader graph is fully bullish, which is great. And now all we need to wait for is a corrective pullback. And on silver, we have a very beautiful sniper reaction on our entry. Okay, on our first entry, we smashed TP1 on our first entry on this bearish opportunity. And the reason I took this setup on silver is because I saw a bearish shift in momentum. I saw a liquidity sweep followed by an impulsive break towards the downside. After that, I was able to identify a unmitigated order block that, as we can see, was lining up perfectly with the point of interest, and the pullback was also nice and corrective. Okay, so literally every single confluence was in place. Hence why we took the setup, and so far it is running very beautifully, running in some nice profits, literally as we speak. Okay, and yeah, that was pretty much it when it comes to the metals analysis. As always, if there's any other questions, make sure to reach out on Discord. Now I will go over today's indices analysis, starting off with US30, where I wasn't able to identify a new setup. Although things look extremely bullish, I wasn't able to identify a clear bullish range because right here we have no pullbacks. It's just a linear move towards the upside that looks super overextended. Hence why I'm gonna wait for the price to recalibrate, and from there we should be able to identify something new. On SPX, however, I was able to identify a bullish opportunity. So things look definitely bullish overall. We have this uptrend, and right here we have a continuation of that uptrend with this bullish break of structure that took price higher and left imbalance behind. Before the break, liquidity was swept as well right here, which is great. And after the break, I was able to identify this unmitigated auto block that, as we can see, is lining up perfectly with the area of interest. The trader graph is fully bullish as well. And now the last thing that we need to wait for is a corrective pullback towards our fire zone. And on NAS 100, as we can see, we are pretty much in the middle of nowhere. No clear setup to be seen. Hence why we just keep things simple and only focus on the pairs, on the assets where we see clear setups. On this one, I'll just leave the chart as is and come back to it later to see if there's anything new that we can analyze. And yeah, on that note, we'll end today's indices analysis right here. As always, if there's any further questions, make sure to reach out on Discord. And lastly, I will go over today's crypto analysis, starting off with Bitcoin, where things look bullish. Okay, things definitely look bullish. However, I wasn't able to identify a bullish range yet that we could trade. Hence why I'm gonna leave the chart as is and wait for some fresh structure. Same exact story on Ethereum as well. We can see that the price action looks very similar. On Dogecoin, once again, same exact story. Things look bullish. However, I wasn't able to identify a bullish range because there's not really a pullback here. Okay, I don't count one candle as a pullback. I need at least 2 candlesticks. Okay, so here we have a very linear move. Hence why I am not taking any of these ranges. XRP. On XRP, we did have a pullback here, but there's no clear range that we could trade. Hence why, once again, we just keep it simple and focus only on the assets where we have clear setups. And lastly, on Solana, same exact story, right? Things look very bullish. Yes, that's correct. But there's no clear range over here because these right here aren't pullbacks. Okay, we only have one bearish candle. We need at least 2 for a basically valid high to form. Okay, and then for me to take the range all the way down from here, it would be too big of a range. Okay, and there's no point to do that. And yeah, on that note, we'll end today's crypto as well as the overall daily analysis right here. As always, I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all on the dork side. Take care.